I would be honest with you. If we go 1-4 or 1-5 again next year, I think he's out then. I don't think they give Ron a full 18 if he struggles early, just because we know, your leash is short now. You've had 3 years. We've seen what you've done, but it's going to be interesting. So I want to see what happens, and I know they're probably looking at what happens this offseason as far as, who's going to be the owner. And let's go ahead and kind of get into this discussion. Who's going to potentially be the coach? Scott Turner he was the first to get the axe, but we've heard it in several group chats where certain people have made us aware that the coaching staff as a whole is dumb, unintelligent, maybe not with it. What I'll say is that we were 1-4. Technically 1-5, but the record said 2-5, 2-4 because we beat the daggone the Bears. We were awful. We were at that point, you and I, we were just like, one more loss and I'm good. I'm good looking at the draft picks. I wouldn't have had a problem being the Texans. Like, we were that close to that. And then Ron brought us together. Amid all of these things, our star rookie running back got shot before the season. Our number 1 draft pick from a couple years ago did not play until, week 16? You know what I mean? Our starting quarterback that we paid all this money for was out. They had so many issues and breakdowns and struggles that really could have each one of those could have derailed the team. But not only were we in the hunt, we took out the undefeated Philadelphia Eagles and derailed their run that they had. We sat there and were in almost every game. Now, later in the season, they kind of took us out of some games, but I just don't think you go away from what we got at head coach and Ron Rivera, at least not right now, or at defensive coordinator. Because we've said all year that defense is where we're bend but don't break. And like I alluded to earlier, we've gotten better. Our defense, with the injuries we had, Ridgeway came out of nowhere and has been balling this year. We've seen some of these younger Danny Johnson and Reeves and some of these guys that, might not be starters elsewhere. We fit them in the system, and they have been showing up. If we could get a full 18 from St. Juice, he could turn into that lockdown corner, as we've been trying to put him on other main guys. There's got to be something said for guys that are able to hold their team together amid everything that we've gone through. And this is not a normal franchise. We've got a lot of stuff, especially coming from up top and then going down. I mean, in the last, 4 or 5 years, we've had three different names. Redskins football team command. You know what I mean? Like, it is humorous, but at the same time, you a professional. You got to go. What's your name this week? Well, we're the football team. Well, we're the Commanders. Well, you know what I mean? Like this. We joke about identity. We didn't have one. And so all of that stuff that's going on. The first year went going 1-7, and then making it to the playoffs, albeit the division was bad. Last year having that 4-game win streak. This year going with the backup and a bunch of young guys. I just feel like he deserves that chance, so we have to stay where we're at. Now, do you think we need to go elsewhere, or what do you think about the coaching?
I don't even think it's an option. There's no way that Dan Snyder is going to pay for a salary of a head coach. Ron's got 2 more years on his contract. Dan Snyder's not going to – if he's selling this team, he's not going to pay coaches to go away. So the fact that he was willing to sign off on the Scott Turner, because Scott Turner signed an extension last year, is enough to say that those are all the changes that we're going to say. I have less of a problem with Ron as the head coach, and I've got more of a problem with Ron as this coach-centric, I am the de facto football team president. Everything goes through me. My general managers come through me. That's where I think he's sort of failing, which, shocker, how many coaches actually make it in that role? I think Bill Belichick may be the only one who consistently can be in that role and be able to do both sides, pretty well. But, so Ron as a personnel side is not really getting it done. But from a coaching standpoint, while I do have a lot of concerns about his old school philosophy, Ron was his way of coaching would have been great in the 90s. in early 2000s. He's just like Marty Schottenheimer,
Yeah.
run the ball, run the ball, run the ball for first down. Now run the ball, run the ball. Okay, now throw the ball.
Run it again.
You know what I mean? It's like he wants to, and that isn't the way the league's going. It's kind of why I was trying to poo-poo our offensive coordinator options, because I don't think the brightest minds that are in San Francisco and LA are going to be like, oh, there's a job open in Washington? Oh, yeah, let me go there. But I do think there's something huge about Ron's ability to connect with players. Go look back a couple weeks ago, that Pro Bowl video. Not just the Jeremy Reeves one getting emotional, but the other players there. Tress Way interacting with his coach and them seeing, pretty close. And there's a respect there between Jonathan Allen there, So that part is huge. The fact that he's able to, people talk about his records in Carolina not being very successful, but he also was sort of like he was here in DC. His teams didn't suck either. They could win 6-7 games. They could win 8 games. They could win, but he has the ability to mold a team together. So I think while I'm concerned about his old school philosophy, I also think he's building a team, and we may have a quarterback in here next year, whether that's Howell or somebody else, where running the ball is going to be best for them, because limiting the amount of times they have to process and make decisions out there may be in our best interest. And relying on our defense, who did improve, is our recipe for success overall, where we want to have the defense leads the way, the offense gives enough points to win the game. So from a coaching standpoint, Ron obviously should be back next year. He's going to be back next year. It's the personnel side. I got more to talk about the defense, but I need to take a break from talking and give you a chance.
We'll go ahead and answer. He said that was my question from earlier. Does Wright and Mayhew have more input this offseason? I mean, even if they do, Ron still is.
Yeah, well, Jason Wright has no part of the football operations. He's completely business side.
Marketing.
Yeah. But Martin Mayhew, you hope that they're on the same page on what to do, but that's my concern. So I made a face when you talked about St. Juice playing all 18 games, because in 2 seasons now he's played a 1 full season of play. Right. So it's like, we have, like, I love Benjamin St. Juice. I think he's a huge talent, and I think he should be a starting corner next year. We have to have someone who can step in when he inevitably gets hurt.
Exactly.
Because it can't be, as much as I've enjoyed seeing Danny Johnson improve, it can't be going into next year with Danny Johnson and Christian Holmes as our 3 and 4 cornerbacks. Right. We got to improve this roster. We saw what's going to happen when a linebacker goes down, and Cole Holcomb missed half the season. And we were playing David Mayo, and then this Hudson guy comes out of nowhere and plays well. But where has that been? You had linebacker depth that we knew. The biggest flaw that this team made was you brought in a quarterback who needed time in the pocket and is a statue, and you went cheap as dirt on the offensive line, getting 2 older guys who've been allowed to leave by other teams. Yeah. Huge player personnel mistake. And so that's my bigger thing, is like, yeah, they can make more moves, but they have made blunders in each of the last 2 off seasons. William Jackson III and the offensive line that has been severely detrimental to our team. Sorry, I hijacked that question. Anything you would like to add?
No, that's good. Yeah, no, but I mean, that's the thing. You made the point right there, is that they have been in the position. They have, at least Mayhew, and this is what we've got. You know what I mean? To that point about Ron, though, before, my favorite part about that video, especially with Reeves, is that obviously comes in, gives the embrace, but he said, "Coach, I'll run through a wall for you." And he said, yeah, I know that. That's what I love about football. That's why I went to coaching. I had kids that said that, like, I will go toe-to-toe, with anybody for you, Coach. I believe in you, that type of thing. When you have that, and I understand it's a business. I understand, the NFL is, for other stuff. But when you have that type of thing, that's something that you can build on. That's something that you can, okay, if we can put people in here to get this thing working, and which is why I wish he wouldn't be in that sole control thing, because it is, okay, my way, I know what I'm doing, but it ain't been working. It ain't been working consistently.
Right.
You've been able to get it, and we've seen, just like you did in Carolina. But let's be honest, with the exception of that 15-1 year, they were 7, 8-1. They were, having subpar type seasons. So we know he can get you here, but we need help to get up there.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
So and so that's where it is. And I think this is going to be a year to just kind of figure out, I think this is the year that we just kind of figure out.
Can he take us there?
Where are we going? Right.
Yeah.
And it has to be cutthroat this year. I think it has to be.
It does. The pressure needs to be on.
Or you're going to do that. Like, we can't keep saying, okay, well, let's wait for the 5th year. No, we have been here. We've seen he keeps getting up here. If you lose, if you get 6 games, you're done. If you just win 6, because you've gotten 7 and 8. Okay, I need double digits. I need us to be safely in the playoffs, where we're even at least considering maybe sitting some guys in the last week, kind of where Dallas was.
Right.
And we have the talent, and we have been able to show that we can do that. But we got to do it consistently. This next year, this is it.
Right.
This is it. So
I agree. I wanted to touch on Jack Del Rio. You keep bringing up the bend but don't break. It's been our theme for the year, and it's 100% right. I think Del Rio deserves to come back this year. I thought he was on the chopping block, this season, and I think he did. He made improvements. The defense made a ton of improvements throughout the year and went back to that 2020 season of where we were, the defense led our team. Our great defensive line played so much better this year. Payne had himself a career year. Allen had, coming off getting some big money, another great season. Montez Sweat made plays. They all kind of bought in. You said it. We had a couple guys that came in and made some plays. John Ridgway's been someone to keep on. Casey Toohill was making some plays out there, and is kind of developing and shows that he's athletic and is a solid, backup player. So I enjoyed seeing that. I just want to see more turnovers. And maybe it's because we just don't have the personnel. We've got good players out there, at linebacker and DB, but not great ball hawking guys. And pardon me, had Kendall Fuller not had another pick 6, I was going to come into this saying Jack needs to change his philosophy to stop with all this zone crud, and he needs to start playing man defense so we can get these corners that are good in it in college.
Specific man guys. Right.
That's, because like this corner stuff, we ain't getting turnovers, and then we get a pick 6, in the game. But I do want to see some more pressure, some more, turnovers being generated by our defense. And like I said, maybe it's a situation where we need 1 or 2 more playmakers on the field to let that happen. And then that's what we're still lacking. And that can be, hopefully be fixed this offseason. But I think Del Rio deserves to come back. I don't think it's a question there either.
No. Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it's right. Like, again, a theme that we'll be talking about this offseason is roster construction, because one of the things, even we talked about at the beginning of this year, Kerrigan, they brought him in to kind of help out with some of the players, but I don't think right now we have a player that has been here for 6, 7, 8. I know we got Jonathan Allen who's been here for 5 and Duran, but like 6, 7, 8 years, and that's been a part of a championship, or who knows the ropes. You know what I mean? That's why I love that we brought in Ganina.
You said it right.
Yeah, I did. I've been practicing. Let's go. That's why I'm glad we brought him in, and then Kerrigan, because these guys are vets. These guys have played and been to the playoffs, and Ganina in the Super Bowl. That is kind of what we need. But now let's get somebody like that on the field. You know what I mean? Even when you talk about with quarterback, we don't really have an older guy to do it. We need to get somebody maybe like a Fitzpatrick to come there and be your bench guy and says, all right, this is what you're going to say to them. This is what, if you see this, go to that. You know what I mean? That can tell you the ins and outs, where at the same time, the Howell or Heineke or whoever's starting does not have to worry about his job being in jeopardy so that he has to do too much. You know what I mean? We need somebody in there that's sitting there talking to the guys and calming them down in situations. When Gibson had his fumbling issues, we need an older running back saying, hey, tuck it up here. Let me show you a little ins and outs, something different. We need that veteran leadership, because I feel like in the grand scheme of things, we still are very young. You know what I mean? So that is one of the things, and that's where I think there is somewhat of a disconnect between Del Rio, who played in the 80s and 90s, and Rivera, who played in the 80s and 90s, who are used to that I form and heavy run, Walter Payton and Darren Nelson. I'm trying to think some 80s running backs for those teams and whatnot. But that's what they're used to. And I do kind of agree with people that are saying maybe they are a little stuck in that, and they were stuck a little bit in the past. We need something to bridge that gap, somebody that can relate to the old, but that can also sit here and get the young on the same page. So that's kind of where I'm at on this. But I agree, JDR needs to stay, Ron Rivera needs to stay, but let them get in that seat, and you start putting that heater up under that seat. And each loss, you turn that thing up just a little bit and let them know it's time.
Oh, pressure is going to be on next year for everyone, for
absolutely.
sure, especially if we have a new owner. Let's hope. Fingers crossed.
Thanks for watching. If you like that clip, be sure to check out the other great content from the Let's Talk Football community. And as always, please like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll be notified when more great content like this becomes available.